Alright, welcome back to Nickeland's Comic Corner, the classic, less known classic. That's episode number 2563 and episode number 2457. Now, I do have a Star Wars trade and an Ultimate Universe trade. First that we have is Star Wars Yoda. Yep, Yoda got a book. Now, I initially thought, like a lot of Star Wars books, that like a limited series, because this was a limited series, that was going to last 5 or 6 issues. And I look at this list like, oh no, this went to 10 issues. Yeah, but here's the strange thing though. When Han Solo and Chewbacca did 10 issues, that was split in 2 trades. Yeah, this is one trade here. Yeah, now, the writer of this book is a bit surprising, because this is the same guy who writes a book that nobody cares about. A book by the title of Star Wars The High Republic. Yes, Calvin Scott writes this book. Now, I got to admit, basically, I have nothing against Calvin Scott at all. It's just that basically the High Republic characters are people I don't care about at all. They're completely forgettable. I mean, here's the thing. Can you name a who is the main character of High Republic? No, seriously. Who is the main character of this book? That's a really good question. I have no idea. Yoda appeared in one of those books, so makes sense. Mostly put for Yoda, this is basically an adventure for him. I think this is set before the events of Phantom Menace. Now, yes, Calvin Scott does the writing here, but he's not the only writer on this book. Oh no. Calvin Scott writes the first 3 issues of this book. We also have Mark Guggenheim issues 9 through 10, 7 through 9. Jody Houser does issues 4, and the final issue is done by Calvin Scott. Okay. Interesting. The first 3 issues are worked on by Neil Leon. 4 through 6, Luke Ross. 7 through 9, Alessandro Marcello and Albert Robertson on issue number 10. Mostly put, this is basically Yoda on a mission before the events of Republic. Basically, it's basically like several story arcs. You can think of it as, it's the best way to describe this book. It's kind of like a short-lived ongoing series that has story arcs. Basically, you have this Yoda living on this planet for a few issues. This is the Calvin Scott stuff, which I do find interesting. And plus, I love the Phil Noto covers. Marvel, please have Phil Noto do some interiors again, because I love his interior work he did for Poe Dameron. That was good. Yeah, Poe Dameron does his cover. Yep, Poe Dameron. Not Poe Dameron. Phil Noto. Yep. Yeah. And, yeah, he's credited on here, but I think that's his cover here. So, yeah, it's just him hanging out here for a few issues. And it's very self-contained, and then pretty much right after this story arc basically wraps up. And then apparently we jump to Dagobah, probably before Luke Skywalker showed up, where he's like flashing back to when Dooku was his apprentice. Well, actually, when he became master, this is before he became old. Yeah, Dooku. So this is story. This next part. This is I believe Jody Houser's story. This is a story of basically Yoda with Dooku for a few issues. Yep. It's just time with the Academy, training students. Really interesting stuff here. I gotta admit, Jody Houser does a great job doing this story. There's also a Wookiee here as well. Just a lot of really good stuff here. Anything? Okay, what about the Mark Guggenheim stuff? Well, and then after we kind of wrap this story up basically back at Yoda, and then we come to Mark Guggenheim stuff. Well, this is probably set during the Clone Wars. How? Because General Grievous is here. Yep. This is like him flashback to events, a story from the Clone Wars where it's basically on their planet, and then we see where the Jedi basically is invading stuff. So Yeah, basically Yoda goes under, basically infiltrates the place and has a fight with General Grievous. Doesn't beat him per se. And he's here with Anakin, who's still got a scar across his eye. Which, here's the thing: in the original expanded universe, Asajj Ventress did that to him. In the main continuity, they've never brought up the fact that factoid has been, for some reason, deemed not canon to the main continuity, despite the fact it happened during the Clone Wars. You would think it would have been explained. But no. Like, if you watch the CGI Clone Wars series, he's already got the scar across his face. Yes. Which, that was basically mentioned in the Clone Wars, so I remember that happened. It's Adventure did it to him. So basically, with this book, he's teamed with Anakin Skywalker for this quick little story, which I thought was really good. This is of course Mark Guggenheim stuff. Yeah, a lot of fun here. There's teases of basically the future with Yoda, where he's like, we see a future what happened in New Hope, where he talks to Obi-Wan. And then we come to the final issue, The Cave, where you reminisce about the people, and of course we have Yoda basically hallucinating. We see the Death Star right on the planet, he's crashing down on the planet. And then he sees he's in a cave, he sees that, and he sees the ghost of Skywalker, and then he sees the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. And of course, basically, it's just a dream. Goes back to the cave. By the way, same cave Luke Skywalker went into in Empire Strikes Back. Goes in the cave, and then he sees somebody there. Turns out it's actually it's Yandi. Somebody he knew. It was like, yeah, it turns out it's Count Dooku without his hands. I'm like, that is interesting. The fact that the artist remember the fact that he lost his hands. If you're curious, who did that to him? That was Anakin Skywalker did that to him as payback for taking away his arm in Attack on Clones. Though, of course, basically, he's got really sharp teeth here for some reason. He's like a freaking zombie. Though, we forget the fact that Luke Skywalker also used Dooku's lightsaber and his own lightsaber like a pair of scissors and basically just snipped off Dooku's head. Yes, seriously. In the very first PG-13 Star Wars movie. And that was one of the reasons I made PG-13 because of that scene. And we see like the Emperor here. This book, I gotta admit, this book was a lot of fun. I kind of wish this was ongoing because this book was just so good. So it's like a Tales of Yoda. Like, so awesome. I get that book a 10 out of 10. It's just pure awesome at its finest. I kind of wish it was ongoing because this book was so good. It's like you finish this book like, man, I really want more here. Like, there's so much story you can tell with Yoda. Who knows? Next up is the first. By the way, I forgot to mention this is the first of two series videos. We have a Star Wars book and a Mark Millar book. This first Mark Millar book being Ultimate Avengers, Next Generation. This basically is the original miniseries for Ultimate Avengers. Here's a fun fact about this book. The last Mark Millar book said the Ultimate Universe, which is Ultimate Avengers, the Ultimates, by the way, not Ultimate Avengers, Ultimates. That book was delayed. It took 2 years to release 13 issues. I am not kidding about that. This book, here's a shocker for you. It was released on time. It is one of two noteworthy books Mark Millar has worked on in the last 20 years that actually came out on time. The other book, a book I've not read but I heard is really good, Jupiter's Legacy. Yep, a book he did for Image. Yeah, it seems like he has this reputation where, his reputation where books he's on do not come on time. But this book, every issue was supposed to come out, came out on time. So, Ultimate Avengers, or as it was called at the time, Ultimate Comics Avengers. Yeah, basically put, this is the Black Ops team. Basically, this is the ultimate version of the Secret Avengers. Except, this book made its debut a year prior to the Prime Universe version of the Secret Avengers. I am not kidding about it. I think its debut at what was 09? Came out right after basically Ultimatum. Now, New Ultimates, which is published around the same time as this book, that book got delayed. It took like a year to release 5 issues. Because Jeff Loeb was doing that book and Ultimate Comics X. Which, it seems like that book was basically set up for the book that came afterwards, Ultimate Comics X-Men. Most of his Black Ops team, it's a reactivation of an old Black Ops team that Hawkeye was on previously. Like, he's on the team, a little bit Rhodey, Nick Fury. Captain America gets involved in this sense because the main villain's related to him, which we'll get to that. And, of course, they're joined by a brand new Black Widow, Monica Chang, who is Nick Fury's ex-wife. I am not kidding about that. We also have a new Wasp in this book, which is interesting. And also the fact that the Red Skull, yeah, that's the main villain in this book. This guy, oh my gosh. This guy is a freaking scumbag. Like, worse than MJF. Like, oh my gosh. Like, they show in a flashback where the woman became the new Wasp, where he decided to, hold her husband and her baby hostage, and this is how much of a freaking scumbag he is. He throws the baby out a window, murders the husband, has his men rape the woman. I'm like, I like 616 Red Skull. Not even he would go this far. It's like basically Mark Millar wrote basically Ultimate Red Skull to be as evil as possible. Yeah, how evil? Throwing a baby out a window. That's how evil he is. And here's the strange thing about this Red Skull. The Red Skull was revealed at the end of the first issue that he is the son of Captain America. And you're thinking, what? He's the son of Captain America in this continuity? Yeah, apparently his old girlfriend, Richards, now related to Reed Richards, they don't really explain here in this continuity, where they had a kid, and instead of, Red Skull in the main continuity, he's got like a mask or like he's got chemical metal in his face. Oh no. Okay, I'm not going to show what Ultimate Red Skull looks like because it's absolutely disgusting, because he's also got like a tattoo on his... I'll get to more of that. So, he apparently did not like the face that his parents gave him, so he cut off his own face. So all you see for him is muscle. I am not kidding about that. That's literally what he did. Thank God they didn't show it, because that would have been absolutely disgusting. I'm like, really, Mark Millar? Why are you making out the Ultimate Red Skull to be as disgusting as possible? Oh, by the way, the guy's like a neo-Nazi. And he's got a tattoo on his muscle head. And he wears basically casual clothing compared to the 616 version, who wears a Nazi uniform. Despite the Nazi stuff, at least he's awesome. Yeah, Red Skull is a pure awesome guy. Of course, this one also got hands in the Cosmic Cube, which I think Mark Millar was trying here. And here's the thing, though. Nick Fury's like, don't get involved because of your son. And Cap's like, I don't know who this guy, I've never met this guy before, claims he's my son. That's basically how his thing is. He's like, yeah, he's going to fight his own son. Like, his whole thing is, because he's a threat to the United States, it's his job to take him down. He does not care the fact that basically it's his son. He does not give a damn about that. So, also, this book also debuts a brand new character, Nerd Hulk. Nerd Hulk is the clone of the regular Hulk, who's currently gray in this continuity at this point. Yes, he's Gray Hulk. Yeah, that was something that one of the writers thought was a good idea to do, make him Gray Hulk. I'm not sure why. Because originally in his continuity, he was green and he became gray. My guess is Mark, well, hey, can I use the Hulk in my book? And I guess the other's like, no, you can't use the Hulk. Like, okay, I'll create my own Hulk. Create Nerd Hulk. And the guy wears a suit a lot of the book, and he's basically a lumbering buffoon. That is how Mark Millar writes him, compared to how he's written in the next book. I'll talk about that. Yeah. By the way, this book is done by the artwork here, which is actually pretty good here. Now by Carlos Pacino, and by the way, that is War Machine. Yes, seriously, that is War Machine. So after beating Ultimate Red Skull, he's taken to the hospital. He's saying goodbye to his mom, and then Wasp comes in and shoots him in the head while he's basically in bed. This book also introduces another new character, aside from Ultimate Red Skull and Nerd Hulk. We're introduced to Gregory Stark, Tony Stark's older brother. Yes, I am not kidding about that. We're introduced to Tony Stark's brother in here. Oh yeah, he's a white suit, and we'll get more of this in Ultimate Avengers 3, which I'll get to the next comic corner. But man, I did like the story in a nutshell with the whole idea of this. Though basically, at the end of the book, it's teasing something that will play into the finale of these series, the four mini series. Yeah, this is the first of four because Ultimate Avengers 2, which I have previously reviewed, Ultimate Avengers 2, which I'll review next comic corner. And this is also the fourth and final part of this one. What to talk about that, basically, because that is set up for that miniseries. Yep. Oh, by the way, it's kind of revealed here. I think it was revealed here in a different book that apparently the person who unleashed Red Skull was Nick Fury himself. Yeah, and also when he first sees the Triskelion, he's like, "I'm waiting for 10 minutes." Yeah. Because it's like 3 weeks after Ultimate. I'm giving the book roughly a 9 out of 10. If you're really curious, like him being gone, and when we show Ultimate, like, what happened? He stayed behind in the Squadron Supreme Power universe after the events of Ultimate Power, which led into a brief Squadron Supreme ongoing series. And after that, then he popped up in Ultimatum. Yeah, one of two was in another universe until he came back. Doctor Doom was going to come back in the pages of Ultimate FF. A book that's got really terrible artwork. I'll eventually do that in the future, but yeah. Interesting book. I did like the majority of the writing here. But it's luckily in the groundwork with something else. Now, Cap is here, but he's not the star of the book per se. He's only here because it's necessary. And plus, oh boy, we'll talk about basically next book next time. Okay? Thanks, Phil. Bye.